You probably think of the ocean like this: huge, blue, deep. It has whales, it has sharks, it has coral reefs. You have seen it in documentaries. Maybe you have swum in it on vacation. The surface tells you almost nothing about the ocean. 71% of Earth's surface is covered with water, and humanity has not explored 95% of that volume. We have mapped the surface of the Moon. We know the topography of Mars. We have tracked the storm systems of Jupiter. But we know far less about 95% of the water beneath our feet than we know about neighboring planets. 95%, unexplored, still dark. And that darkness is not empty. It is filled with things that live, move, reproduce, and feed. Tonight, we are going to look into that darkness. First, let us look at depth. The average depth of the ocean is 3,688 meters. But the real story is not in the average. The deepest point of the Mariana Trench, Challenger Deep, goes down to 10,935 meters. Try comparing it like this. Take Mount Everest, 8,849 meters. Now place that mountain at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Its summit would still be 2 kilometers underwater. But we already knew that. The unexpected part is this. Humanity reached Challenger Deep in 1960, 9 years before we reached the Moon. Since then, fewer people have gone down to Challenger Deep and returned than have gone to the Moon and returned. The Moon is 384,400 kilometers away. Challenger Deep is beneath your feet. But getting there was harder. The ocean is not one single environment. It is more like different planets stacked on top of each other. Sunlight does not travel very far through water. The area down to 200 meters is called the sunlight zone. This is only about 5% of the ocean's volume. Almost everything we usually imagine lives here. Everything else below it has no sunlight. From 200 meters down to 1,000 meters is the twilight zone. There is still a little light, but not enough to form a clear image. The animals living here migrate upward every morning and downward every evening. This is the largest daily migration on Earth. It happens every day without anyone noticing. Below 1,000 meters is the midnight zone. There is no light. Zero. Black. The temperature falls to about 4 degrees Celsius. The pressure is about 100 times greater than at the surface. To feel what that pressure means, think of this. A plastic cup sent down to 6,000 meters shrinks to the size of a mandarin. Researchers really do this. Styrofoam goes down, compresses, and comes back up like a tiny toy. Now let us go into that darkness. The things living there are stranger than anything science fiction invented. About 90% of animals in the deep sea produce bioluminescence. They make their own light. You need to hear that number again. 90%. In the deepest parts of the ocean, almost everything either produces light or reacts to light. This light is used for communication, for escaping predators, for catching prey. If you have ever stood on a beach at night and seen waves glow as they break, what you saw was millions of bioluminescent organisms reacting to mechanical movement. At night, the ocean lives by light. We just cannot see it. Let us begin with one of the residents of the midnight zone, the anglerfish. You probably know the female fish with the glowing lure hanging from its head, but there is something about that fish you may not know: the males. Male anglerfish are so small compared to the females that at first they were thought to be a different species. The female can reach 40 or 50 centimeters. The male can be only 3 centimeters. The male finds the female in the dark by smell. Inside a vast ocean, he follows a chemical trail. When he finds her, what does he do? He bites her, and he does not let go. Over time, the male's mouth begins to fuse with the female. Skin tissue merges. Blood vessels begin to work together. Eventually, the male fish remains attached to the female like an object. His eyes degenerate. His internal organs shrink. He continues to exist only as a system that produces reproductive cells. A single female anglerfish can carry multiple males at the same time, attached, fused, alive, but reduced to one function. You may call this evolution, and it is. But still, in those same depths, there is something else. The barrel eye fish. Its name comes from its barrel-shaped eyes. But those eyes were misunderstood for a long time, because when the fish was caught in nets and brought to the surface, the change in pressure damaged its body structure. In 2004, a research vessel filmed this fish in its own environment for the first time with an ROV. And what emerged was this. The fish has a transparent head. Its head is covered with a clear, gelatin-like structure. Inside it, you can see its green, barrel-shaped eyes. And those eyes are not fixed. They can rotate. When the fish looks upward, the eyes rotate forward. When it looks forward, the eyes rotate upward. You look at the fish, and you can see inside its head. Literally, its head is transparent. We knew about this fish from the early 20th century, but we misunderstood what it looked like for almost a century. Just think about that. We studied an animal for decades, but because we could not see it alive in its natural environment, we did not know that its head was transparent. That is the ocean. What you think you have seen may not be real. Now let us move a little higher, into the middle of the ocean. There are unexpected things there too. The siphonophore. When you first hear the word, you imagine one animal, one organism. But a siphonophore is actually a union of thousands of smaller organisms. Each one is genetically identical. Each one has a different job. Some provide movement. Some form feeding arms. Some handle reproduction. Together they move like a single being. And some species are among the longest known animals on Earth. A blue whale is about 30 meters long. Praia dubia, a siphonophore species, can reach 40 to 50 meters. Some expert estimates push that to 60 meters. Is this a community, or is it one creature? Science still does not have a simple answer, because the idea of an individual stops working here. Let us go deeper again, below 2,000 meters. In places where underwater volcanoes exist, there are chimney systems on the seafloor, hydrothermal vents. Water that can reach hundreds of degrees Celsius pours out of them, filled with sulfur compounds and conditions where a human could never survive. And right around those vents, there is life. This life does not feed on sunlight. It feeds on chemical energy. Chemosynthetic bacteria turn that toxic water into a source of energy. Around them, an entire ecosystem forms. Giant tube worms, some reaching 2 meters long, have no mouth and no digestive system. Bacteria live inside them. The bacteria provide energy to the worm, and the worm gives the bacteria a place to live. This ecosystem was discovered in 1977. At first, researchers struggled to believe it. Until then, the accepted idea was that all life was chained to the sun. After 1977, that changed, and that change opened another door. Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter. Enceladus, the moon of Saturn. Perhaps there too, ocean science became astrobiology. Now let us move to one of the quietest phenomena in the deep ocean, marine snow. It begins when you go below the upper layers of the water. Pieces from everything above drift slowly downward. Dead organisms, waste, shell fragments, mucus. They sink a few millimeters per second. Some particles take weeks to reach the bottom. This snow means life. Most of the organisms in the dark zone wait for it. Without this energy falling from above, almost nothing down there could exist, and the deep ocean is a delayed reflection of the world above. When productivity in the upper layers decreases, the snow falling downward also decreases. This change happens slowly. A shift above may affect ecosystems below years later. There are rivers at the bottom of the ocean. That sentence sounds wrong, but it is true. Water with very high salt concentration does not mix easily with the surrounding seawater. Because it is heavier, it sinks to the bottom and forms a separate layer. That layer can flow like a river, along the seafloor, in its own channel, with banks. And some species live along the edges of these brine pools, but cannot enter them. An ROV once entered a brine pool. The footage shows the vehicle crossing a surface, as if it were passing into another liquid, because it really was another liquid. Fish wait along the edges, but they cannot go in. They cannot survive that salinity. They gather around it like animals around fire. An ocean inside the ocean. Now let us look at where those rivers go, because there is also a waterfall at the bottom of the ocean, the Denmark Strait Cataract. It is the largest waterfall on Earth, and it is completely underwater. Cold, dense water in the North Atlantic flows south and drops down over a continental slope. The drop is about 3.5 kilometers. Compare that with Angel Falls in Venezuela, the tallest waterfall on land, 979 meters. The Denmark Strait Cataract is about 3.5 times taller. You cannot see it directly. You cannot simply photograph it. It is detected through measurements of temperature and salinity. But it is there, all the time. And it has been there for millions of years. Now let us talk about ocean sound. There is no such thing as a silent sea. Sound travels much faster and much farther in water than it does in air. Some ocean sounds can travel thousands of kilometers. One of the best examples is the SOFAR channel, Sound Fixing and Ranging Channel. At a certain depth in the ocean, the combination of water density and temperature creates a layer where sounds can become trapped and travel huge distances with little loss. Whale calls can cross the Atlantic through this channel. During the Second World War, Allied officers discovered this channel. The idea was that if a pilot crashed into the ocean and triggered a device that produced sound at the right frequency, surface ships could locate him from thousands of kilometers away. The SOFAR channel was designed as a rescue mechanism. A blue whale can produce sound at 188 decibels, more than twice the sound of a jet engine. When that sound enters the SOFAR channel, it can spread across the ocean. A whale's heartbeat can be heard from 2 kilometers away. Now let us move to one of the strangest residents of the midnight zone, the goblin shark. It is pink because its skin is so thin that the blood vessels underneath are visible. Its snout is long and flat, extending forward like a blade. That snout is sensitive to electrical fields. In the dark, it can sense the faint electric signals coming from the muscles of its prey. But the strangest part is its jaw. The goblin shark does not just swim toward prey. It can launch its jaw forward like a slingshot. Its jaw can shoot forward by about 8.6% of its body length. The movement is so fast that it is almost impossible to follow with the eye. We rarely see this shark. Much of what we know about its biology comes from dead specimens. The goblin shark has been moving through the ocean for more than 125 million years without knowing humans exist, and we still cannot answer basic questions about it. Now let us move to whales. Because whales are not only large animals, even their deaths become biological events. Whale fall. When a whale dies, it sinks to the seafloor. This event can last for decades. At every stage, a different ecosystem forms. The first stage is mobile scavengers. Sharks, crabs, and other carnivores tear away the soft tissue. This can last for months. The second stage is opportunists. Smaller animals clean the remaining tissue from the bones. This can last months or years. Then comes the third stage. This part was not known until 2002. Ossidacs, zombie worms, bone-eating worms. They enter the spine, the skull, every bone. They send out root-like structures and form a symbiotic relationship with bacteria that digest the fats inside the bones. This stage can last for decades. Some species can live only at whale falls. We do not know where else they exist. Their entire known existence is around the body of a dead whale. The death of one giant animal becomes the birth of dozens of species. For 30 years, maybe longer. Now let us return to size. Some residents of the deep ocean are unusually large. This is called deep-sea gigantism. We do not fully know why it happens, but cold temperatures, low oxygen, and rare food are possible factors. The giant squid, Architeuthis dux, the largest known invertebrate. Its eyes can be the size of a football. It can reach about 13 meters. But we already knew that. What we did not know is this. Researchers had to wait until 2012 to film a giant squid alive for the first time. Before that, almost everything we knew came from pieces found in sperm whale stomachs or bodies washed onto shore. And there is a species even larger than the giant squid, Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, the colossal squid. Sperm whales fight them. Circular scars on sperm whale skin come from the hooks on these creatures' arms. Live sightings are extremely rare. We do not know exactly how large they can become. There are still animals in the ocean whose true size we do not know. This is not the 1800s. This is today. Now let us talk about age. The deep ocean seems to freeze some things in time. The Greenland shark grows about 1 centimeter per year. It may not reach sexual maturity until around 150 years old. Using radiocarbon dating, one specimen was estimated to be 392 years old. With the margin of error, that could reach 512 years. A Greenland shark could have been swimming since the time of the Ottoman Empire. While that shark was moving through the deep, Galileo had only just invented his telescope. If immortality exists, we should mention it. Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish. Biologically immortal. Technically, this means that under stress, such as lack of food, disease, or signals of aging, this animal can reverse its life cycle. It can go from a sexually mature adult back to a larval stage, literally. Then it can grow again, mature again, and theoretically repeat this cycle forever. This overlaps with one of the biggest dreams in human biology, cellular rejuvenation. And an animal that can do it is living right now in the world's oceans. Small, clear, delicate. So why are they not all immortal? Because they get eaten. Disease, predators, mechanical damage. They have the algorithm for immortality, but the world has enough tools to kill them. Now let us talk about the Bloop. 1997, the Pacific Ocean. Hydrophones from the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration detected an extremely powerful low-frequency sound from a distant point. The sound did not match anything human-made. It did not match any known sound made by marine animals. Its amplitude exceeded that of a blue whale. It lasted a few minutes. It was detected from thousands of kilometers away. Then it ended. In 2005, NOAA examined it again. The conclusion was that it was most likely an ice quake. Breaks and movements in Antarctic ice can create sounds at these frequencies. Probably, most likely, not certain. And there is the upsweep. It has been detected again and again by hydrophones that have been recording continuously since 1991. A rising frequency sound. It changes seasonally, stronger in spring and autumn. Its source has not been definitively identified. There is the train, a sound like an engine with regular intervals. It has not been matched to any source. The ocean still leaves those questions unanswered. Let us look at light again. The dragonfish has an organ under its chin that produces red light. For fish that cannot see red light, this light is completely invisible. In the dark, the dragonfish can illuminate its surroundings with a red flashlight, and the prey sees nothing. Only dragonfish and their close relatives can see that frequency. A lighting system working in a hidden wavelength, shaped by evolution, over millions of years, and its teeth are transparent. When you look directly at them, they are almost invisible. Light from bioluminescent prey passes through the teeth without leaving a visible trace. White teeth against a black background would shine, and prey would notice. But transparent teeth do not shine. Red light and transparent teeth are strange on their own. Together, they form a perfect hunting system. Let us return to pressure, because ocean pressure is almost impossible for human intuition to understand. At 10,000 meters, pressure is about 1,100 atmospheres. That is about 1,100 kilograms of force on every square centimeter. A human would be crushed within seconds. But things live there. Hadal zone organisms do not just tolerate this pressure, they are adapted to it. Amphipods, small shrimp-like animals, live in Challenger Deep in dense populations. The deepest place is not simply a place where everything disappears. The cell membranes of these animals have different fatty acid compositions from ours. Under high pressure, a cell membrane can become rigid. These organisms have special molecules that help keep their membranes fluid under pressure. Think about this. If you took a bacterium from Challenger Deep and brought it to the surface, you would kill it. The drop in pressure would be lethal to it. High pressure is deadly for us, but low pressure can be deadly for them. The conditions are reversed. Same planet, opposite limits. Now let us talk about an animal that has ink in its history, but is not a squid, the nautilus. It has remained almost unchanged through time. You look at forms from 500 million years ago, and then you look at a modern nautilus, 500 million years. Through the formation of oceans, the joining and breaking of continents, 5 major mass extinctions, the rise and fall of dinosaurs, this animal endured. What is the secret of that survival? When threatened, it can retreat to depths of 500 to 800 meters. At those depths, most of its predators cannot follow. Its metabolism is extremely low. It uses very little energy and can survive for long periods without food. Not speed, not strength, just endurance. Let us look at another creature waiting in ocean darkness, the vampire squid. Despite the name, it is not a true squid and not an octopus. It belongs to its own group. Vampiroteuthis infernalis, the vampire squid from hell. It has webbing between its arms. When fully spread, it opens like an umbrella. When a predator attacks, it can open this umbrella shape, release bioluminescent light, and move quickly in the opposite direction. But its feeding method is stranger than its name. The vampire squid feeds on marine snow. It does not actively hunt. It catches falling particles with hair-like filaments, coats them with sticky mucus, and eats them. No chase, no race, no constant fight, just waiting. Marine snow drifts downward. The vampire squid chooses, gathers, and feeds. At depths of 600 to 900 meters, it trusts its life to falling ocean snow. Think about the topography beneath the ocean. Mountain ranges, volcanoes, plains, and their size exceeds their equivalents on land. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is the longest mountain range on Earth, 16,000 kilometers. Most of it is underwater. Along this ridge, 2 tectonic plates are moving apart, 2 to 3 centimeters every year. As they separate, new seafloor forms between them. The Atlantic Ocean is widening, right now. As you listen to this sentence, now let us move to underwater caves, a world far less known than caves on land. Anchialine cave systems are caves connected to the sea, but located under land, containing a mixture of saltwater and freshwater. They are found in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and the Pacific. Most species living in these caves exist nowhere else. Remipedes are one example. They are creatures that split away from their marine ancestors thousands of years ago, evolved inside caves, and lost their eyes. Their evolutionary line does not fit neatly into familiar groups of crustaceans. Why are these caves so hard to explore? They require diving technology, but also cave diving, both at the same time. The caves are narrow, complex, and the exit routes can be unclear, extremely dangerous. But every time a new system is explored, new species appear. Some cave systems stretch for dozens of kilometers. Let us talk about one of the quietest places in the world, the Sargasso Sea. The Sargasso Sea is the only sea in the world without a coastline. It sits in the North Atlantic, inside a loop formed by 4 major ocean currents. That isolation creates a region where sargassum seaweed gathers, and inside that floating forest, there is its own ecosystem. Crabs, fish, and sea snails found only there. The Sargasso is also the spawning place of North Atlantic and European eels. These 2 species travel thousands of kilometers from their continents to come here, reproduce, and die. Their larvae are carried back by the Gulf Stream. How this migration works, how they find the way, is still not fully understood. Returning to the place where you were born, but you have never been there. You only came from there, and somehow you know how to return. Now let us move to the sperm whale. Its dive record is about 2,250 meters. It can stay underwater for about 90 minutes without breathing at the surface. During that time, its heart rate can drop from 120 beats per minute to below 10. Sperm whales sleep, but not at the surface. They hang vertically in the water, heads upward, motionless and silent. This was first photographed in 2008. Researchers passed about 8 meters away, and the whales were in deep sleep. They did not notice. Why do they dive so deep? For giant squid. Giant squid beaks have been found in sperm whale stomachs. Circular scars on sperm whale skin come from the hooks on those creatures' arms. In complete darkness, at 2,250 meters, 2 giant ocean animals fight. No human has ever directly seen it. Now let us move to underwater volcanism. About 80% of volcanic activity on Earth happens on the ocean floor. Constant, silent, suppressed by water. Sometimes it cannot be suppressed. In 2022, the Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai volcano erupted near Tonga. The sound of the eruption was measured 10,000 kilometers away in Alaska. It created a global atmospheric pressure wave. Most striking of all, the shock of the eruption traveled around Earth's atmosphere. Measuring stations recorded that pressure wave circling the planet more than once. A vibration from an underwater volcano traveled around the world. Southeast of Hawaii, there is Loihi Seamount, an underwater volcano about 1,000 meters below the surface. It is growing. In an estimated 10,000 to 100,000 years, it may reach the surface of the sea. A new Hawaiian island is being born, very slowly. We have been recording humpback whale songs since the 1970s. These songs change. How do they change? They spread through ocean populations. A male in one region learns a new melody, and over time that melody spreads across the ocean. This is cultural transmission, not genetic. Learned information passed from one individual to another. A 2011 study showed that after Eastern Australian humpback whales learned a new song, that song spread within 2 years to Southeast Asia and then into the Indian Ocean, west to east, like a cultural wave. Why do these melodies change? Competition? Attraction? Preference? We do not know. There is no answer, only the song. Let us add one more layer to whale sound. Ocean noise is increasing. Since the beginning of the 20th century, human-made ocean noise has doubled every decade. Ship engines, construction, seismic surveys, sonar. These sounds overlap with the frequency bands whales use to communicate. In the North Atlantic, blue whales now sing at lower frequencies compared with the 1960s. Why? Noise? Population change? Climate? Unknown. The ocean was always noisy. Waves, fish, volcanic sound. But that noise evolved inside the ecosystem. Human noise entered the equation, and the result of that equation has not yet been fully calculated. There is ice on the ocean floor, but not where ice should be. These are called clathrates, or methane hydrates. Under specific pressure and temperature conditions, water molecules lock together into cage-like structures. Methane gas is trapped inside those cages. It can look like a rock or a piece of ice, but if you bring it to the surface, it can burn. There are enormous amounts of these structures on the ocean floor. Estimates suggest that more than twice the methane contained in all known fossil fuel reserves on Earth is locked inside these cages. Now think about this. These cages can exist only within a certain temperature balance. If that balance breaks, if the seafloor warms, the cages destabilize, and methane can be released into the ocean and the atmosphere. Methane is dozens of times stronger than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas, and this locked methane reservoir can become unstable as the ocean floor warms. This is not yet fully understood, but what is happening here is this. The ocean floor has the capacity to give back what it stored over millions of years. In a place without light, color should not matter, but it does. Many deep-sea animals are red: shrimp, fish, worms. And this is not accidental. Red light is absorbed quickly in water, so below about 200 meters, red light is gone. At those depths, red looks black. Being red means being invisible. Predators cannot see you. Prey cannot see you. And remember the dragonfish that produces red light? That is why it is so effective. Prey evolved in a world where red is invisible. The dragonfish evolved red light to exploit that blindness. In ocean darkness, the color of invisibility is red. We cannot pass without talking about octopuses. Because the octopus is one of the most misunderstood animals. 2/3 of an octopus's brain is in its arms. Each arm has its own nervous system. The central brain still processes signals from the arms, but each arm can make independent decisions. So while an octopus is searching for food, one arm may be exploring on its own. This architecture is radically different from the human nervous system. We are centralized. The brain commands, the limbs execute. The octopus is distributed. The arms both think and act. Octopuses solve problems. They can open closed jars. They can navigate mazes. They can recognize faces. At the Seattle Aquarium, staff reported cases where an octopus deliberately sprayed water at specific keepers. Always the same people, not others. And octopuses are colorblind. That sounds like a paradox, because their ability to change color is extremely precise. Researchers have suggested an answer. The skin of the octopus contains photoreceptors that may detect light. It may not see color with its eyes, but its skin may sense it. Colorblind, yet able to change color perfectly, possibly sensing color through skin without seeing it through eyes. A completely different evolution of nervous biology. Time works differently in the deep sea. This is not a metaphor. Some deep-sea organisms have extremely slow metabolisms. We already talked about the Greenland shark, growing 1 centimeter per year. But that is only one example. Some bacterial communities in the ocean floor are alive inside organic material that sank millions of years ago. In a study published in 2020, researchers examined sediment samples from the Pacific Ocean floor. Those sediments had formed 101.5 million years ago. Living bacteria were found inside them, not just dormant. When nutrients were added in laboratory conditions, they began to grow. 101.5 million years. When dinosaurs were still walking, those bacteria sank into the ocean floor, and they were still alive. The deep sea is that slow. A lifetime there can be equal to a geological age on the surface. Thermohaline circulation. The global conveyor system that moves all ocean water in about 1,000 years. This circulation is driven by differences in temperature and salinity. Surface water in the North Atlantic cools, becomes saltier, and sinks. It flows south along the deep ocean, moves around Antarctica, spreads into the Indian Ocean and the Pacific, then rises back toward the surface and eventually returns to the Atlantic. What would happen if this system stopped? Northern Europe could cool by 5 to 10 degrees. Rainfall patterns would change. Ocean oxygen distribution would be disrupted. This is not pure speculation. Paleoclimate records support it. During one glacial period, this system slowed, and the climate of Europe changed dramatically. And this system is changing now. As polar ice melts, fresh water mixes into the ocean surface. This lowers salinity. Lower salinity reduces the ability of water to sink. The engine weakens. Melting ice at the surface has the power to change a 1,000-year circulation cycle. Now let us look at oxygen at the ocean surface. About 50 to 80% of the air the world breathes is produced by the ocean. This is done by phytoplankton, microscopic single-celled organisms that photosynthesize. Prochlorococcus alone is the most abundant photosynthetic organism on Earth. It is about 1,000 to 2,000 times smaller than a human hair. Something that small runs something that large. And the distribution of these organisms across the ocean surface is not even. Satellite images from space show phytoplankton density as greenish clouds, concentrated in some regions of the ocean. These clouds change with the seasons. They are shaped by nutrient flows, and every change directly affects both oxygen production and carbon storage in that region. The ocean breathes. But that breath is not evenly spread. Some places breathe more strongly. Some places are quieter. Some deep-sea fish have completely rebuilt their visual organs to match their environment. One of the strangest vision systems in the ocean is this. Some deep-sea fish have tubular eyes, almost like binoculars, focused forward. These eyes collect very small amounts of light with great sensitivity. But from the outside, the fish can look almost blind. No wide field of vision, only the direction ahead. Some species have eyes facing different directions. Upper and lower vision systems act almost separately. One watches silhouettes above, the other scans for bioluminescent light, and some deep-sea fish have lost their eyes completely. Instead, they develop systems that detect pressure, chemical signals, or electrical fields. In a world without light, vision may not work, but other senses do. Evolution here did not simply lose an organ, it replaced it. There is a permanent sound recording on the ocean floor. Volcanic activity on the seafloor constantly produces low-frequency sound. When hydrophones record these sounds, a picture emerges. The ocean floor is not silent. It is constantly vibrating and groaning. But like the Bloop in 1997, some sounds have not been fully matched to a source. In 1999, a sound called Julia was detected. High frequency, short. Most likely the sound of a drifting iceberg. But most likely, there is slowdown. Recorded in 1997, a sound lasting about 7 minutes, with a frequency that gradually dropped. The source was probably Antarctic ice movement, but the same sound was never heard again. The ocean works like an archive of sound. It records something once, then it may never return. Deep ocean chemistry contains unexpected things. The cone snail looks like a harmless sea snail, but cone snails are among the deadliest groups of marine snails. With a harpoon-like mouth structure, they inject venom into anything they strike. This venom contains hundreds of different peptides. Some species can be lethal to humans. From that same venom, a powerful painkiller was developed, ziconotide. It is said to be about 1,000 times stronger than morphine, and it does not create addiction in the same way because it does not act on the opioid system. It works through a completely different mechanism. Ocean venom gave medicine one of its most powerful painkillers, and this is only one example. What kinds of chemical compounds exist in undiscovered species? Millions of years of evolution produced millions of different solutions to millions of different problems. Those solutions are still there, waiting, unnamed, uncatalogued. Let us look at whale sound from another angle. because how whales recognize one another is still debated. Sperm whales use click patterns called codas. Each group has its own coda pattern. Researchers interpret these patterns as a kind of social identity, a sound pattern that tells which group you belong to. A study published in 2024 applied artificial intelligence-based sound analysis to sperm whale communication. More than 8,000 codas were recorded, classified, and mapped. The result pointed to structural richness comparable to features in known human language systems. Does it contain meaning? We do not know. Is it a language? We do not know. But some things behave like language. Let us return to life around hydrothermal vents. Because one creature found there forced scientists to rethink chemistry. The Pompeii worm. Alvinella pompeiana. It lives on hydrothermal vent chimneys. The surface of these chimneys can exceed 80 degrees Celsius. The worm lives there. It is considered one of the animals living in the hottest environment of any known multicellular animal. The front of its body can be near 80 degrees, while the back can be around 22 degrees. Its own body carries a temperature gradient of about 60 degrees. How its tissues tolerate this gradient is still not fully understood. The bacterial layer on its back may be part of that tolerance. Researchers think those bacteria may act as a heat buffer, but it is not certain. The Pompeii worm lives in one of the hottest animal habitats on Earth, and we still do not fully understand how it survives. Ocean water contains eDNA. When an organism enters the water, it leaves things behind. Cell fragments, mucus, waste, skin particles. Inside those particles is genetic material. Researchers can now take a water sample, analyze the DNA inside it, and identify which species have been in that area, without seeing the animal, without catching it, only from the trace it left in the water. This method has shown several things. Some species exist across a much wider area than previously thought. Some are rarer than expected. Some appear as new DNA sequences from organisms that were never known before. Water keeps the record of those who pass through it, and we are now learning to read that record. It is also used to monitor the future of the ocean. Species shifts, population density, the arrival of new species. With regular sampling of ocean water, long-term traces can be followed. The ocean writes its own history. We are just learning how to read it. Let us add one more dimension to ocean light, the Milky Sea. A dark night, open ocean, no moon, clear sky. The surface begins to glow, quiet, calm, whitish blue, as if the sky has fallen down onto the water. This phenomenon has been reported by sailors for centuries. Jules Verne wrote about it. The first scientific satellite record came in 2005. In the Indian Ocean, an area of about 15,000 square kilometers was covered with continuously bioluminescent bacteria, Alivibrio fischeri. These bacteria use quorum sensing, meaning they can detect the density of bacteria around them. When enough of them gather, they produce light together. 15,000 square kilometers, an area 17 times larger than the island of Cyprus, all producing light at once, for hours, sometimes for days. Why this event can synchronize across such a huge area is still not fully understood. There is another world beneath the ocean floor. The seafloor is not a boundary. It continues below. Inside basalt rock, there is a subsurface biosphere that extends through millions of kilometers of crust. Bacteria live there, archaea live there, unaware of light, using minerals inside rock as a source of energy. The total biomass of this rocky biosphere may be comparable to all life in the ocean water above it. All of it inside rock. No daily cycles, no seasonal change. Some organisms may take 100 years to divide. We still do not know how deep this subsurface biosphere goes. Every drilling project shows that life exists a little deeper than expected. This world inside the rocks beneath the deep ocean floor has not been mapped. Hunting in the deep sea is a completely different game. Feeding on marine snow means waiting. Active hunting is a luxury. You spend energy, and energy is scarce down there. That is why the large predators of the deep sea evolved extremely efficient strategies. The black swallower. This fish can have a stomach larger than its body. It can stretch and expand. A black swallower can swallow a fish 4 times larger than itself, whole, in one meal. But sometimes this strategy goes wrong. Black swallowers found washed ashore have contained huge fish inside their stomachs, already beginning to rot. The prey decomposes inside the stomach, produces gas, and the black swallower can float to the surface. And there, it dies. Hunger forces it to swallow something enormous. Sometimes, the prey is bigger than the predator. As we approach the end, one more thing about the true unknown nature of the deep sea. According to an estimate made in 2023, 91% of ocean species have not yet been described by science. Marine biologists also point to this number. If there are 10 living species in the ocean, 1 may be known, and 9 may still be unknown. Compare that with land. More than 90% of land mammals have been cataloged. Birds, reptiles, many land groups have been largely inventoried. But 91% of the ocean ecosystem is still outside our knowledge. You do not need to go to the Amazon or a mountain range to discover a new species. Lower an ROV to the ocean floor. Statistically, on any dive, there is a real chance that something never seen before will enter the frame. There are no balloons in the deep sea in the way you expect, but there are missing ones. Many deep-sea fish do not have a swim bladder. In surface fish, the swim bladder helps control depth by adjusting pressure. But under extreme pressure changes, that bladder can rupture. So many deep-sea fish never developed one. What do they use instead? Oil. Some species fill their livers with huge oil reserves. Oil does not compress like gas, so it stays more stable under pressure. In some sharks, the liver can make up 25% of the body weight. It is both a buoyancy mechanism and an energy store. There is another solution. Some deep-sea fish reduce dense muscle tissue and develop bodies almost the same density as water. Weak muscles, thin bones, jelly-like bodies. They do not need to move much. They only need to hang there. The price of surviving in the deep sea can be giving up muscle. Bioluminescence is not always blue. Blue is the most common because blue light travels farthest in water, while other colors are absorbed more quickly. But bioluminescence is not only blue. Some organisms produce green bioluminescence, some produce red, and only predators or relatives that can see that frequency can detect it. Some produce yellow, and one of the strangest things is biofluorescence. This is not bioluminescence. Biofluorescence absorbs blue light and emits it as another color, usually green or red. A diving lamp shines blue light. The fish absorbs it and then glows green. This kind of dimensional communication system was discovered on a large scale by ocean researchers in 2014. Hundreds of deep-sea species were found to biofluoresce. What is this system for? Still debated. Maybe species recognition, maybe attracting mates, maybe creating your own wavelength in a world without ordinary light. Let us add one final thing from ocean depth: the true evolution of jellyfish. Jellyfish have existed for 500 to 700 million years. That makes them one of the oldest animal groups on Earth. No brain, no heart, no blood, no gills, no true complex organs in the way we think of them. And with such a simple body plan, they survived 500 million years. But what makes them truly surprising is not their age. It is their ecological impact. Jellyfish consume large amounts of carbon, and the material they release becomes an important part of marine snow. During mass reproduction events, called blooms, they can cover entire sea areas. Since the year 2000, jellyfish blooms have increased in many parts of the world. In Japan, Cooling systems at nuclear power plants were clogged by masses of jellyfish. In Norway, a fish farm lost 650 tons of salmon in one night because of a jellyfish bloom. In parts of the Mediterranean, swimming can become almost impossible in summer. One of the simplest animal body plans can create some of the most complex ecosystem effects. No new element was discovered in the deep sea, but new chemistry was. When the water around hydrothermal vents was analyzed, unexpected things appeared. Manganese, zinc, copper, gold, silver, and also compounds created when high-temperature seawater passes through basalt rock. Some of these compounds do not exist in the surface ocean. Chemical reaction rates work differently here. Temperature is hundreds of degrees. Pressure is thousands of atmospheres. Mineral concentration is unusual, and the bacteria that turn this water into food do more than chemosynthesis in one simple way. Some species oxidize sulfur to produce energy. Some consume methane. Some oxidize iron. Around every vent, different bacterial communities use different chemical sources. This diversity shows something important. Life is not limited to one energy source. Wherever there is a chemical change, evolution seems to produce an organism capable of using it. Let us add another dimension to ocean sound: the underwater acoustic environment. Hydrophone networks that began during the Second World War are still active today. These networks were originally built to detect nuclear explosions. The CTBTO, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, operates hydrophone stations across the world's oceans. They were designed to detect nuclear tests, but they also record earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, and unexplained sounds. This network listens all the time, every day, because it is already working. And sometimes, it captures things that cannot be explained immediately. The Bloop was caught this way. The upsweep was caught this way. Slowdown was caught this way. We did not build the system to listen to ocean mysteries. We built it to track nuclear weapons. We discovered the ocean's mysteries almost by accident. We have reached the final stop. The ocean began forming 2,071 million years ago. The first life probably appeared in the ocean. All life on land descends from forms that, at some point, came out of the sea, including us. 60% of our bodies is water. The salt concentration of that water reflects the chemistry of the ocean during early evolutionary periods. Our cells imitate a marine environment. The biology that makes us was shaped by ocean chemistry millions of years ago, and we still do not know 95% of it. Every new dive opens a little more, but at the same time, it creates new questions. It will probably always be this way. The ocean will always be a little bigger than what we know, and that is a good thought to fall asleep with. Right now, in the deep sea, a siphonophore is expanding and contracting. A Greenland shark is swimming slowly, 400 years old, with no idea when its life will end. Brine pools on the ocean floor continue to flow. A whale may be sinking to the bottom at this very moment, and dozens of species may already be waiting. You are sleeping, and the ocean is working. Final note: all the information in this text was compiled from current scientific literature. Some numbers may have been updated depending on the research period. Ocean exploration continues.